You ever seen a woman lose a legal war over a $1 bid? I have. I started it and I ended it with one crisp, clean dollar. Right there in front of a sheriff's cruiser, HOA board members with clipboards, and an entire cul-de-sac of stunned suburbanites blinking at me like they'd just seen a ghost. Or, more accurately, the end of their little kingdom. It started with a damn rooster. A 10-foot-tall rusted iron rooster, planted proudly right by the gravel path leading up to my front porch. It was ugly as hell, depending who you ask. But that rooster had stood there since my granddad's day, before satellite dishes, before subdivisions, before some suit in a city office ever decided to carve up this stretch of land into Silver Pine Reserve. See, I'd inherited 300 acres of open country, the kind of place where you could go a whole day without seeing another soul, and that's exactly how I liked it. Enter Cynthia Bradford. If Botox had a national ambassador, it was her. She showed up on my property one Sunday morning, hair like a helmet, pastel tennis outfit cleaner than a hospital sheet. She came with a thick binder and a face like she'd just smelled a dead skunk. Didn't knock. Didn't smile. Just stood there in my driveway, flipping open that binder like it was the Bible. You're in violation of multiple aesthetic ordinances, she declared, pointing a French manicured nail toward the rooster. I raised my coffee mug and said, "Good morning to you too." She introduced herself as president of the Silver Pine Reserve Homeowners Association, full title, no irony, and handed me what she called an enforcement packet. Apparently, my rooster, red barn, and wire fencing were all non-compliant visual obstructions. Her words, not mine. Now, I could have argued. I could have pointed out that her new development only touched a corner of my land. But instead, I just smiled, thanked her, and took the binder. That was mistake number one. She took my silence as weakness. I took her arrogance as an opportunity. The notices started rolling in fast. Every week, some new letter accusing me of violating this or that clause from their little HOA handbook. Then came the fines, first $50, then $300, then $1,000. One day I opened a letter that said my property was being considered for lien and foreclosure proceedings. I showed it to my cousin Eli, a corporate attorney with a sharp tongue and a deep hatred for bureaucracy. He laughed so hard I thought he might choke on his sandwich. "They don't own a single square foot of your land, Jack," he said. "Let them try. They'll hand you their head on a plate." I didn't argue. I just waited. See, what Cynthia didn't realize, what none of the HOA folks realized, was that their entire subdivision was sitting on a lie. That developer who built their shiny beige boxes. He'd used an outdated plat map when they laid roads and poured foundations. No one ever checked the deed lines. But I did. My granddad left me not just land but records, dusty, handwritten, notarized back when people still used inkwells. The original 1912 deed, and a 2023 GPS survey I commissioned after Cynthia's third compliance demand, proved the same thing. Nearly every house in Silver Pine was built at least 20 feet onto my property. They weren't just neighbors. They were squatters. I filed that away like a bullet in the chamber. Just in case. Meanwhile, I played the game. Let them stack citations. Let them mail threats. Cynthia eventually called for an HOA disciplinary hearing, a kangaroo court in the community clubhouse. I showed up in boots, a flannel, and a folder labeled exhibits. She stood at the podium with a projector and a smug smile. Went through slides accusing me of everything from rooster harassment to unauthorized soil displacement. I let her finish. Then I said one sentence, "Would you please state, for the record, under what legal authority you believe my land falls under Silver Pine HOA governance?" She blinked hard. One of our board members, a younger guy named Kyle, whispered something. Cynthia shushed him. "You're within our overlay," she said, hesitating. "Great," I replied. Can you point to that overlay on a recorded plat map? Silence. You don't have to answer now, I added, this meeting's been recorded. That's all I needed. I walked out. 2 weeks later, I had the HOA plan to auction my land for unpaid fines. They'd scheduled it as a public sale no reserve. That's when I made my move. The day of the auction, the community gathered like it was a block party. Cynthia wore pearls. The sheriff showed up to supervise. And when the auctioneer opened bidding, no one said a word. I raised my hand. $1, I said. He looked confused. No one else spoke. Sold, he said. Cynthia turned purple. That's not valid, she shrieked. He can't buy it, he's the violator. Sheriff Harper stepped forward. Auction was open. Bid was highest. It's valid. And right then, I handed him a folder. Inside, certified deed copies, the county plat maps, the GPS survey and eviction notices. Every home on the eastern side of Silver Pine. Technically built on my land. I owned it all. The playground, the dog park, even Cynthia's precious community sign. She looked like her skeleton had tried to escape her body. I didn't file evictions. Not yet. Instead, I made an offer. To every homeowner, I mailed a certified letter. I'd grant them 99-year land leases at $1 per year on one condition. Dissolve the HOA permanently. All of it. Gone. The vote. Unanimous. Cynthia was ousted in disgrace. She sold her house for half its value and vanished. No one cried. Kyle became interim president, only job was to sign the dissolution papers. HOA disbanded. That damn rooster still stands. I added a little plaque, in memory of common sense. RIP. Now the neighborhood's blooming with color. Kids ride scooters. Someone painted their door neon green. The world didn't end. You can call me petty if you want. You can say it was overkill. But sometimes, all it takes is one person to say enough and a single dollar to tear down an empire built on arrogance and fear. So, what do you think? Was I right to play their game or did I go too far? Let me know. Let's talk about where the line really is when your land, your freedom, and your peace are on the line. You ever seen a woman lose a legal war over a $1 bid? I have. I started it and I ended it with one crisp, clean dollar. Right there in front of a sheriff's cruiser, HOA board members with clipboards, and an entire cul-de-sac of stunned suburbanites blinking at me like they'd just seen a ghost. Or, more accurately, the end of their little kingdom. It started with a damn rooster. A 10-foot-tall rusted iron rooster, planted proudly right by the gravel path leading up to my front porch. It was